Hello everyone, it's the FPL Grandmaster back again for another video on the channel. We're going to jump straight into Game Week 20 and right off the bat, defense not very good this week, admittedly. Three of them were just one pointers. Mukiele, fortunately, getting the def cons and only conceding one goal, so 4 pointer for him. Quite decent there actually. And my other two bench defenders also hit def con as well, so a bit annoying that, but I think with the fixtures, I wouldn't have really changed anything anyway. So sometimes in defense, it's just like that. It is what it is. I think it was really the midfield that was the star of the show for me this week. Three of them, in fact, no, four of them getting at least one attacking return. Bruno G getting the goal, getting the bonus. Very close to getting the def con as well. I think he was on 11, just needed one more to get the extra 2 points. A bit unlucky with that. Grealish, two assists. Yeah, Everton, they did get hit by Igor Thiago in that game quite a bit, but fortunately for me, Grealish did look like he was getting the ball in the box quite a lot, and he was able to get two assists from that. So yeah, good for me, I guess. He is a bit of a differential at the moment, Jack Grealish. Not a lot of people own him, so it's always a bit of a punt, but based on what I've been seeing, he's looked good. So glad to see that kind of pay off for me. Cunha, he didn't score last week. He did this week, and he looked decent. He had quite a few chances, to be fair. He had the offside goal disallowed. He hit the post as well. So that looked a bit promising from him. But of course, with the United situation now, I don't know what's going to happen now. Amarim's gone. We'll just have to keep an eye out on that. Then with Saka, I went for him as captain. Very annoying that he was on the bench. Didn't really see it coming, but I guess it makes sense with the Liverpool game in midweek that Arteta might want to rotate a little bit. He did get the assist at least for me, which was good. And luckily Haaland blanked, so the captaincy kind of paid off slightly. Not by tons, but it paid off a little bit. I guess it's a couple points more upside. And then Foden, yeah, just I don't know what to do with him right now at the moment because he's blanked in quite a few now, but probably not the most urgent transfer for me to make. So for now, it's kind of just a wait and see situation with him. Then with Jared Bowen, I brought him in for Igor Thiago, and that really didn't pay off for me at all. He, I would have been 13 points better off, so I would have been on 65 instead of 52 this week if I'd just kept Igor Thiago. One of those things. I guess West Ham got absolutely demolished. Mane, who I mentioned last week in the wildcard draft, did very, very well. Maybe if you had him, you should have played him after all, I guess. But again, it's just one of those things. Now I brought Bowen in, I kind of just have to stick it out. There's no point for me to go back to Thiago now. And then finally, Haaland, another blank for him. He looked all right in the game. I thought he had a couple of decent-ish chances. He had that one where he hit the post, so I'm not too concerned there. Everyone owns him anyway, so I guess it paid off. I didn't captain him, but I wouldn't be too worried about Haaland. He's Haaland. Like I'm sure he'll be fine. Then in terms of the Game Week 21 team, this is how I'm currently set up. With the Robert Sanchez thing, I don't know the extent of the injury. It seems like he had like some sort of muscle injury and then it kind of got worse and then in the end they just didn't take the risk on him so he didn't play. I think for now I don't have the luxury of with just one free transfer. I just don't have the luxury of making a goalkeeper transfer. So probably just keep him, hope he plays. If he doesn't, then it's Dubravka off the bench. And with Amrim gone and United being a bit shaky at the moment, there's worse things that could happen, I guess. With that being said, actually, it kind of puts a bit of a doubt in my mind over Dorgu. Obviously, he's been playing, and United are quite short-staffed at the minute. But I mean, with an interim manager, you don't really know how they're going to set up. So a bit worried about that, but it is still Burnley away, and he has been playing that right wing position. So I'm hoping he just sticks to it for at least another game, and then I think after that I'll have to really reassess what to do with him. I think it's more likely he drops to the bench because I don't know if I have the luxury of making that transfer, but we'll see what happens. With Saliba, it's a bit of a similar situation. He's obviously the most nailed, but he's got virtually no attacking threat. And Gab a lot of people are getting Gabriel in now, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Obviously, with Gabriel scoring in back-to-back games, it's meant that there's been like quite a stark difference in the scores between Saliba and Gabriel. So I'll just have to track and monitor that one really. And if his price goes up, or it looks like it's going to go up, I might have to just make the transfer now from Saliba to Gabriel, but we'll see how it goes again. Then Mukiele, he's he got the DEF CON last week. He's playing Brentford, who did just put four past Everton. We'll see how it goes, I guess. Brentford at home is they do tend to score. They do tend to score, so we'll see. I've got Anderson and Lacroix on the bench as well, so I could very well see one of them coming in for one of at least one of the three in this team if I don't make the Gabriel transfer anyway. Then into the midfield, they look quite good this week actually. The games look fairly decent. Bruno and Grealish at home, hoping that goes well for both of them. Um, yeah, Bruno looks good. I think he's the most nailed attacker in that Newcastle team at the minute. So I'm not looking to get rid of him anytime soon, I'll tell you that much. And then with Grealish, similarly, he's quite a differential at the moment. Not very well owned, just 9.6%. And against Wolves, I know Wolves just put three past West Ham, but I mean, West Ham are probably like on form, maybe one of the worst teams in the league at the moment. So, I mean, I say that and I have Jared Bowen, but it is what it is. I made the transfer now. But yeah, I mean, I think I can just Grealish to do all right against Wolves. And then Cunha against Burnley, I think that should be all right. I don't think that should be too much of an issue. I'd hope for at least some attacking return there at minimum. As for the clean sheet, I think that's less a given. Burnley do tend to score like one goal at least in a lot of their games, and it just like wipe. They're like known for clean sheet wipeouts, aren't they? So we'll see how it goes for Dorgu. But Cunha, I think he has decent possibility to return in that game. And Saka and Foden. Saka's got Liverpool. That'll be a little bit tough, but again, it's just I don't know if I really want to make a transfer there now. If I did, it would probably be to bring in Palmer this week. Although he did play 90 minutes against City, and they've obviously been talking about him and having to manage his minutes. So I do wonder if that means he misses out in the Fulham game this week. But I'll just have to keep an eye on the press conferences with the games, the midweek games as they are right now. It's kind of harder to know for sure. But I think definitely Palmer after this week will become an increasingly good option. And that transfer might become more interesting to me down the line. Then with Foden, I think it's kind of I just kind of have to stick with him for now. This unless I like play Wildcard, there's not really much I can do about that. I've just got to hope he can find his form again and come back into things. And into the forward line, finally, I mean, I've gone 2 weeks without captaining Haaland. I think Brighton at home is a decent enough fixture to put the armband back on him. And I think a lot of people will probably captain him. There might be some that are actually a little bit frustrated after the last two, though, and they might look to go against. But I mean, with Arsenal playing Liverpool, I just don't know if this is the best week to do that. And then finally, Bowen, he is at home to Forest. It's a big six-pointer, if you will. I'd expect him to be up for that game. I mean, it's going to be a very important game for both teams, so you'd expect that Jared Bowen would turn up there, but you just don't know. It's hard to call these things. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the team this week. It doesn't look too bad. Hoping obviously I can get another green arrow. And then very quickly we'll go to check a wildcard draft that I've made. So quickly on the goalkeeper situation, I mean, a lot depends on the Sanchez injury because you just don't know how long he's out for at the moment. I put Henderson in as the number one and Dubravka as the number two, but I mean, very easily, there's enough money, at least in my budget, to go up to Pickford. So if you want to do that, you could. If you want to go a bit lower and spread the money elsewhere, it's also an option. Yeah, it's a lot of flexibility there. And with the defense, Gabriel, I think you have to have. I think there's a question about whether you want a double Arsenal defense. Perfectly plausible, you definitely could. I mean, if you downgrade Henderson to Kelleher, for example, you could probably make it stretch. Tarkovsky, I mean, after seeing Everton concede four to Brentford, it kind of puts me off the double Everton defense at the minute. But Tarkovsky, I mean, I think Everton generally have a decent possibility of clean sheets, and with Tarkovsky, you also have the added threat from corners. So I think with that, it's good enough to at least justify having him. And then Malik Chow, he scored the previous game against Palace. He's quite nailed in the defense, and Newcastle have decent fixtures, so I think it's worth targeting both some of the attackers if they're nailed and the defenders if you can. Van Heck has got a bit of a tricky one this week, but I think in general the Brighton fixtures are starting to look good, so he's a good enabler. Same you can say with Mukiele. He's only 4.2, so it helps you kind of stretch the budget out quite a bit. Then into the midfield on the wildcard draft. Declan Rice, I think there's not really much in it again, as I said last week, between him and Saka at the moment, and he's just a lot cheaper, so it allows you to stretch the budget out again. Rodgers, I think it's a similar situation to Arsenal actually with the attackers where the points tend to be shared quite a lot, so you don't necessarily know what's going to happen. But Villa do look good and their fixtures look decent, so I'd still be tempted to go with Rodgers. Then I think if you're going to wildcard this week, you want to think about bringing in Palmer. I think even if you had something conclusive from the press conference to say he'd get benched or he's not going to play, I think you could easily just play one of the defenders. You could probably play Mukiele this week, but I think you have to move for him this week, just to save the transfer down the line, so you're not like with someone else and then immediately having to make the transfer. And Grealish and Bruno, Grealish, I think he's a good option. He's getting the balls into the box quite a lot, and I think that's good for assist potential. And then Bruno, he's just been doing the business lately, so there's not much more to say about him. Then onto the forward line, it's the same as the draft last week. So Mane, he's just got a lot of energy and he just looks like a very good enabling option at minimum. And you could again, he's another one of those players where you could probably play him this week very easily. And yeah, he looks like he wants to be involved. He's involved in a lot of the attacks, so he looks good for that. And then Haaland, you just have to have again. It's the same thing I said last week. Haaland, Gabriel, those are the two you just have to own. And Jared Bowen, you could go to Thiago, you could go to Jimenez or Calvert-Lewin very easily. Depends on what you want to do. Maybe it's just a inner West Ham fan and me that's slightly delusional about my club, but Jared Bowen, I think he's still a good option. The fixtures still look good even now. I mean, they are a bit trickier now. The Wolves game's out the way, but I'm still cautiously optimistic. And I think with the forwards, there's not tons of options anyway. I mean, as I said, you could very easily change this and maybe go for a 4-5-1. Maybe if you want that extra Arsenal defender, you downgrade Bowen and you upgrade one of the defenders. So those are all options, I think. But thank you all so much for watching again. Again, the support means a lot. It meant a lot to me to get so many nice comments down below last time. So I'd really appreciate if you'd do the same again, leave a like, and please do ask any questions in the comments. I want to get something going there in terms of like if you have any team questions, get those down below. And I will be doing a live stream tomorrow as well, ahead of the deadline. So feel free to tune into that also. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys on the stream tomorrow and have a good game week.